Yes, so as I was saying, we are going to have a seminar today about the human rights program of WILF, and in particular our work with CEDAW and with the other treaty bodies. I would like to also introduce what it is CEDAW and how they work, and what it is the other treaty bodies and how they work. I hope the level will be more or less for everyone. Of course, I have to go to the basic first so that everyone feels comfortable in understanding what we do. Um, if you don't have the materials that we have been sending, you should be going to our website. So you can see here. You can see here on our website, attend our webinars. And if you click there, you can see here how you should be able to download. Here you go. Here you should be able to download the basic materials for session 1 and 2. We will be using that one, and we will also be using basic materials for session 1. If you are watching this video recorded later, this will also be available within the resources of our website. So I will be first talking about what we do here in Geneva. In the office, as you know, in Geneva, we work on several programs, but the human rights program works with the human rights bodies. They are all in Geneva today. This is the Human Rights Council, which is an intergovernmental body, and we will touch upon that one in a future session in 2 days. Then we also work with the UPR system that is connected to the Human Rights Council, and we also work with the Geneva with the treaty-based bodies. So these are the ones that we will be focusing today. In the team, in the human rights team, we have myself. I work 4 days a week, so we are not overloaded with with the staff members, but we try to do our best in working with you. And especially, we have great interns that help us in our daily work. And Leah was our previous intern; she just left, and today we have Martine, who just joined us and will be here with us for 6 months. The goal that we have in the human rights program, the objective of having this program for WILF, is bringing our political message to those bodies, but it's also coordinating and assisting the sections. And this is something that I would like to stress today, and this is part of that, the session that we are having today. So it's coordinating your work, it's helping you, it's assisting you in bringing your message here to Geneva, to these treaty bodies, and also sometimes some local partners, as it's the case within the BINA program. And it's also about informing our members, all members, international or from sections, of what is going on here. So that we do through our blogs that I am sure I can show them here. Our blogs like this that I am sure you follow. And also is done through our newsletter, the newsletter of the Human Rights Council, that I would encourage everyone to sign up. And obviously, if you're here, it means you already signed up, because that was one of the requirements. So one of the important things that I would like to explain in general about what we do would be our integrated approach. Integrated approach, as you know, is used by WILF and very much and are appreciated by our partners and by I think everyone working with human rights. You can have a look within the materials for for both seminars, for seminar 1 and 2. You can see there a little description on what it is. The way I see it is that we could see it would be putting all our programs and all our work in like a telescope. And in that way, we could use a lens. The first lens would be the human rights. So we would be looking at disarmament, and we would be looking at women, peace, and security. So those are the other areas that we touch upon. we would be looking at them through the human rights lenses. And that means that when we work on disarmament, and this is not just our program, but also when Reaching Critical Will works on disarmament, they should be acknowledging that it is about human rights. And it is very convenient for states to believe that disarmament is something completely separate and it is about geostrategical interests, because in that way it gets separated from the values that go behind it and from their legal obligation to disarm, because it is actually entering as a human right. So basically, what we'll try to do is to remind them, and in particular within the human rights program, of course, the other programs do it in other different ways. And the way we try to do it is bringing the work that is being done at the Security Council or the disarmament work being done by RCW, to bring it to the Human Rights Council or to bring it to the treaty bodies. You will see later examples of how we've done that in within within our work, like the very recent work since I've been here. All this work that we do at the Human Rights Program, like I was saying, is with the bodies here in Geneva. We could differentiate, as I was saying, the two main one is the charter based, as we call them, is the Human Rights Council and the UPR, the Universal Periodic Review. And then the treaty bodies that I'm going to talk about. And I want to also acknowledge that there's other other human rights bodies that can be used, and those are the regional bodies. And it depends on the region where a section is located or a partner is located, that you would have different or you wouldn't have um, regional bodies. So those, of course, you can also use in a very various ways, but it would be something that would have to be addressed in base to base, in case to case basis. When it comes to the treaty bodies, the main characteristic of these is that they are specific on a topic. So I am going to show you here on the website. Here you go, on the website of OHCHR. You can see the list of the bodies. And here it says just charter-based bodies, and here you have the treaty-based bodies. And as you can see, they all of them, they have a thematic focus. So you have the Human Rights Committee, that even though it's called like that, it's actually its focus is on the political and civil rights. You have the Economic and Social and Cultural Rights, the Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, CEDAW, that we know very well, on the elimination of discrimination against women. We have the Committee Against Torture. We have the Committee on the Rights of the Child, migrant workers, persons with disabilities, and enforced disappearances. All of these are very topic specific, which, as I will explain, can be a challenge, but it's also a great advantage. Another thing to remember is that these bodies are all made of experts. So these bodies are not, it's very different to the way we address the Human Rights Council, because these are not the states, these are people who are supposed to have very wide knowledge on the topic, and the way we can address them, it's a lot more specific and it's a lot more challenging. It has a lot of advantages from that point of view. And it is a lot less politicized, of course, because they are not representing a state. There is some politicization, of course, because they are invited by states to join, and states have to vote on them or not, but they are not representing a state. So this is a great advantage for us. And then the disadvantages, however, is how limited their mandate is. All of these bodies, as the word indicates, as the expression indicates, they have been created by a treaty. So they are limited to the mandate of those treaties. And that is sometimes a disadvantage. For example, it can be a disadvantage when it comes to the Committee Against Torture. The way that the definition of torture is um, eh, is encapsulated in Article 1 of this Convention Against Torture is that it is only torture made by an official or by someone representing the state. So that is actually limiting our capacity on how we address the Committee Against Torture, because when it comes to domestic violence and it comes to the torture by a husband to a wife, well, we will not be able to be reporting on that to that committee. So that is a disadvantage of this. But it is still, some committees such as CEDAW are making great efforts to expand within their mandate, expand the topics that they focus on. And we will see that later when we talk about the general recommendations. And that is a very useful tool for us to use. Also, a disadvantage would be that some of them, because they are so focused on a certain topic, they might not know a lot about other topics. And this, in particular, in the topics that we focus on, this has been given an extreme weight on CEDAW, because gender topics are basically any topic in the world, as we know, can become a gender topic. And especially we talk about peace, we talk about security issues, and we know that all of those can have a gender aspect, and we try to bring that up. Even disarmament has a gender aspect that we try to bring up. And I think at some points we overload CEDAW because they are so open to bring all the gender topics and gender aspects of every topic into the discussion. And all of these, because the other bodies, because they are so focused on their small topic, they sometimes leave out the gender aspect. And it is our responsibility to bring it up. It is our responsibility to be reporting also to the Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, for example, and bring up things that are affecting women in particular, but because of a racial discrimination, so that they will also, because of our reporting, they will also start being more sensibilized about the gender aspects of their work. So I think it is a great deal of work that we still can do in working with all the treaty bodies. Of course, CEDAW will remain our focus, because they are the ones that are, I think, today they are at the top of these treaty bodies in the topics that we touch. And with the new general recommendation coming up that we'll mention later, this is a lot more so the case. I will explain now then how they work. And to do that, I would like to go back to the human rights bodies for WILPFer. So this our manual, the one on session 1, CEDAW and other treaty bodies. This is a picture of CEDAW members, I think some very long time ago in a session. And you can see here that I've added this this kind of leaflet from CEDAW that they have done themselves. Um, yes. And I am gonna jump right away to what is CEDAW. I think I've already touched that. It has, I think it's 21 members. All of the treaty bodies have around 20 members, some 18, some 24. And these are, it says here, CEDAW state parties, because these are the states that have signed the convention. So they are not, of course, part of the committee. It's just that they have signed the convention. You will see, for example, that the United States of America have not signed the convention. So all of these states we can report on, and we can send shadow reports on when the report is up at the CEDAW committee. For the one missing, it is not the case yet, and we will just, our work will basically be to lobby them to actually sign it um, and start implementing it. So the way it works is, so these are the members. I would advise you to go back and have a look about this, because it is a very useful manual. So the first most important mechanism that they use is the reporting procedure. The reporting procedure, as you know, is that every state that has signed the convention and ratified the convention needs to be reporting on what they are, how they are implementing the convention. And this is the case for CEDAW and also for all of the others, of the other committees. The way they should be reporting is not only how what the government is doing, but what the whole country is doing. So they should be including what the parliament is doing. And CEDAW, this is sometimes not so well known. CEDAW can also comment on the parliament is doing well or the parliament is doing wrong. And for example, there's very often national human rights institutions. They can also be telling those national human rights institutions if they are doing well or not in the application of CEDAW. So everyone is responsible within the state. Everyone is responsible for implementing CEDAW. Another thing that they should be including in the reports, and sometimes is not included in the reports, is the actual numbers of what it is, if they are succeeding or not. Let's say, for example, in the unemployment of women, it is not just about what laws they have implemented and the equality before the law, but also how they are actually succeeding in making this come true. And they have to succeed in making it come true due to due diligence. So this is, for example, if we were talking about 1325 implementation, they wouldn't just need to say, oh, we have done a national action plan. They would actually need to show the results of how women are now being more participative in the resolution of conflicts, or in the diplomatic body of the state. So really, they have to show the results of what they're doing. And so the state will be submitting this report I think it's every 4 or every 5 years, every 4 years, I can see there, every 4 years. And you will know this. You will know if these are coming up, because you will see that in the email that we send to all our sections and partners. You will see if your country is coming up for one of these treaty bodies, and you will see if you will think, oh, I'm being invited or I am not being invited by the state. So when the state does the report, the official report, they should be including the civil society. And as we know, that is most commonly not the case. But so just that you should be part of those. And then you can also choose to have a shadow report. And I think that that would be great if you could have the means to be part of a shadow report. Usually there's a cooperation with the national NGOs in doing that. So you can just join a shadow report that is already been written or elaborated. And I would suggest then that afterwards you join, or actually, yeah, that afterwards you join the briefings that take place here in Geneva. But so the briefings that take place is when once the state has done a report, and then the NGOs have submitted the report, then it comes the session of the committee. And during the session of the committee, most of them will also listen to NGOs. So they will, most of them also do a briefing day in which they will just listen to all NGOs, usually for that week, for the countries that are coming, that they're going to be studying that week. And then later on, there will be one day of a long exchange with the country. I'm sure all of this, it's over here. They will do a long exchange with the country, with the representatives coming from the country. Usually there will be representatives from the human rights national institution, also from the government, and also the parliament is usually represented in that meeting. And in that meeting, basically, the delegates will explain the report. They will introduce it, and they will explain the the most important parts. They will also update some information, because very often the information it's a little bit old, because they've done it in some months ago. And then the members of the committee will be asking some questions to the state, and the state will have to answer. In some committees, they have a night in the middle so that they can talk to capital. In some others, like CEDAW, they just have morning and afternoon, so they have to be ready very quickly in how to answer those questions by the members. Another way, another mechanism to improve this process that is being done by some committees, and in particular it's being done by CEDAW, is the pre-sessions. And these are very useful and very important. The pre-sessions take place usually around 2 sessions before, and before the actual report. So this is why it is very important to think always in advance when you receive our calendar and you see that something is coming up for your country. Um, in the pre-sessions, they do a short, they see NGOs, a briefing with the NGOs and a briefing with the state, and they have some in advance questions already, and they call it the list of issues prior to reporting. And that list of issues prior to reporting are the most important issues that the state will have to report on during the report. So it's giving them tips about how to do the report, and tips of what CEDAW is actually really watching out for. And this is also very important for NGOs, because on the one hand, we can provide information and tell them, hey, you should be really looking at this. There's these human rights defenders being harassed or killed. I mean, you name it. There's a lot of situations that we could be raising during that session. And then also, it works the other way around. We will know which list of issues prior to reporting have been brought up by CEDAW, and we could, or by another committee, if they also have this system. Not all of them do, and then we will be able to report on those topics. So that is the way it is done for the committee to get all the information on what is going on in the country when they have to do their examination. Then after that, what they will do is they always have one member of the committee who is the rapporteur, and that rapporteur will write a little. They will write a draft of what it is called the concluding observations, and with that draft, it will be brought to the whole committee, and in a private session that we are not allowed to take part to, they will vote on it, and they will decide on the final version of the concluding observations. I think I'll now show you an example of, for example, of CEDAW, as it is the example that we're using. Unfortunately, it seems that OHCHR have decided today to change their website, but hopefully we will manage. You can see here that all the human rights bodies. I can click on CEDAW. I can see here, I'm not going to use that one. I will use this one here. You can see here on the right sessions. So I am going to click on that one, and I am going to go down to one that has already taken place and click on it. And hopefully I can see the concluding observations here. So you can see here Algeria, and you can see here the concluding observations. And I can see the document. And then you can see the language. You can just choose and have a look at. Apparently, you save it and everything, and then you open it. So that's the way you should be having a look. I mean, you can see all kind of course, all the documents there. The the report from the state party, a core document that it's kind of a summary of all the reports from the civil society, the list of issues prior to reporting, the reply to the list of issues, the info provided by civil society organizations. So, you can find here everything, and the concluding observations in bold because it is the most important. And then you should be using those concluding observations in your everyday work and lobbying. So it is very important that we don't see the reporting procedure as one thing that takes place every 4 years, but we are able to afterwards follow up with them. And this is something that only the sections can do. This is something that is impossible that we do from here, and that's how it is so valuable. What we have in WILPF, or having these sections and being made up by sections and members. This is our strength, that we can rely on sections to go have a look on at the concluding observations. We always write a blog, and we summarize, and we encourage everyone to have a look at the observations. And then you can do your lobbying. You can use them. You can claim that the state implements the concluding observations, and then hopefully next time when there's a report again 4 years later, you come to us and you tell us, hey, I can remember that this and this and this recommendation that were within the concluding observations were not implemented. So basically, I would focus on the recommendations that are within each concluding observation, and the recommendations by the committee. This is regarding the reporting system. Now, this is the concluding observations, like I was saying, and it gives here all the where to find them and everything. So I think it's very important. I can also see here the reporting cycle that I was talking about right now. So preparation of the report, preparation for review, consideration of the report, and then concluding observations, and then implementation and follow up. So this is really the very, very often missing part by the states. They go through all the process because they have to, because it's very obvious if they don't, and sometimes they don't, but it's very obvious if they don't. But then they fail to implement and follow up, and that's where we get in, and we try to make it true. Now you can see here the communications procedure, and this is quite an interesting one. It's called communication. Sometimes it's called individual complaints or complaints procedure. It depends on the body. Most treaty bodies have one. It is quite rare to use it, and it is very technical. It depends on the case, and it also depends on the treaty body, like I was saying, and on the state in particular. Most of these are made with optional protocols. So, which means that the convention at first will not will not consider having a communications procedure. But then they did a protocol later, and they thought maybe we can have a stronger accountability for states. The communications procedure would be when you can use one topic one case in particular and bring it to CEDAW. So now I'm thinking, for example, I think it was called AT against versus Hungary. So let's use that example, even though I didn't. I don't have it before my eyes right now, but I think I can pretty much remember the case. Um, AT was a woman that was beaten up by her husband. She took him to she reported to the police, and she was not protected well enough. She was they made her stay in her house. They did not provide her with housing, so she stayed in her house, and then her husband came back and repeatedly beat her up for many times. And every time she would go to the police, she would just be, well, this is the cases in the courts now, and you just have to wait. But they would not provide her for assistance and what we call the due diligence. They did not protect her properly. This is a very important case because, like I was saying, because it brought up the due diligence principle. So it means that even if it's by private actors, the state is still responsible for making CEDAW be respected by everyone. And it is right now it's important for us because it's an example of this communications procedure. So this was the person herself, of course, with lawyers and NGOs that have her, who brought this case up to CEDAW. And there's a lot of requirements that need to be. I can see here criteria for submitting a complaint, and there's a lot of requirements. For example, you will have to have already used all domestic procedures, judicial procedures. So if it's only if you have finished, or if they are taking really too long, and it can be justified that it cannot be justified that it's taking so long. And the person has to be affected herself. I mean, there's I can see here they use the same case that I was talking about. Oh no, this is something absolutely different. Sorry. I can see it's for sterilization. Um, yes, I was saying they can use this only in certain cases and by the person herself, and then what can happen is that they can use interim measures, and this is especially important. Is that at the moment that they receive the information, even though they're not going to study the case at that very session yet, and they are going to take 6 months or 1 year, but they can already ask for interim measures from the state. You will have to, for example, not deport this person from your country if the person was saying that they were going to be deported illegally, or you will have to protect this woman and provide her with safe housing, for example. So, like I was saying, it's very technical. It takes a lot of knowledge. It could be in exceptional cases. If it was the case and you thought, oh, maybe this should be brought up this way because we have tried everything else and it's just not working, then it would be something that we would have to do, of course, with technical help. But of course, if the situation ever was brought up, we could just use it. Um, yeah, I will also I wanted to talk also about the inquiry procedure, which is when you have exceptional information, you might bring it up to CEDAW, even though it's not the report is not due at that moment. and you might bring up the information to CEDAW, and they might start an inquiry procedure if they think it is if they think it is needed. And this is also something that is not for all treaty bodies, and also something that the country must have specifically agreed on. So it's like the individual complaints, not for every state that has signed CEDAW. You have the individual complaints or the reporting available. And then this is the same thing for the inquiry procedure. The most famous case was done in Ciudad Juarez in Mexico regarding gender-based violence. So the last one that I would like to mention are the general recommendations. They are very important, and I was mentioning very quickly before when I was talking about how the mandate of these bodies is limited by the conventions that they have been created by. The general recommendations are called in some other bodies general comments. So it can be general recommendations or general comments, is the same thing. And it is a way that they use to interpret or update what it is what it is that is said in the convention. It is very, very powerful and important tool, and CEDAW uses it a lot. And for CEDAW, there's a super important general recommendation for WILPF that is coming up, and we have provided our input and our comments to the committee. They have shared their draft, and they have asked WILPF to provide input, and we have done so from coming from everywhere of WILPF. And it is a general recommendation on women, peace, and security. So it is basically it's called women's rights before, during, and in the aftermath of conflicts. More or less, is going to be the final title. And this is going to be very important for us, but because, for example, at the moment that the CEDAW convention was done, it didn't obviously talk about 1325 because it was not done yet, and it did not talk about the very challenging and innovating issues that the 1325 brought up and that had not been talked about at the time that the convention was signed. So it is important because they are, on one side, they are they are doing an interpretation of the convention, and they are saying, when we talk about this or that, when we talk about discrimination against women, you have to also include the use of 1325. You have to also report on this. When the state reports, it has a lot of legal, very important consequences. And the other reason why they do this is just to update the information. So there's just evolution in the technology and many other aspects that take place. And then, so it's a theoretical update, and it's also just a very practical update of things that were not said during the convention, but they can consider that it was the intention that it was made. Um, Legally, it doesn't have the exact same weight as the convention. Some states will be a little bit reluctant, and they will say that they did not sign up for this, but it's considered an authoritative interpretation of the convention, and it has a great importance. Also, we were talking before about the Human Rights Committee, and also the Human Rights Committee, for example, did a general comment on the incorporation of gender in their treaty. So a treaty that was not strong at all in the terms, in the covenant, actually was not very strong in terms of gender and acknowledging gender rights, and it was really talking about civil and political rights from a very androcentric point of view. Then they did this general comments in which they were, for example, acknowledging how the right to life can have very different um, experiences for women than for men, and thinking about jewelry killings or honor killings, very important specific issues that need to be addressed in a very specific way, because the way that you are going to combat and that you are going to fight killings that are not honor killings or jewelry killings, that killings on the streets because of a robbery, is going to be extremely different. um, so this is it when it concerns the way they work. Then we have the NGO participation. I think I have more or less introduced you with this. I would also like to have a look at the document that I incorporated in the basic materials session 1 and 2, and it's here is the guidance for participation of sections, and this is Human Rights Council and UPR. We will have that, and then treaty bodies such as the committee. So it depends, like what I was saying in the body, but the most normal ones will be doing a shadow report, and I will show later the example of the shadow. I think I can show it right away. This is maybe I'll just say this briefly. This is the information note that the OHCHR do on how to have NGO participation. Usually, because we are here, we will assist with most of it, but it is good if you would like to have a look at this one, and if you would like to navigate a little bit the OHCHR website and see this same document is available for all of the other treaty bodies. So this is the report that DRC have done, and we have done a nice outlet layout and a cover, as you can see, and we have actually also translated it because it was not too long. So it was done in French, and we translated it into English, Leah and myself, in our very little time that we had, so that the outreach of the report is larger, and especially among the members. Not all of them, they don't all speak French. So this is the report, and I think no, the French version is not there, but it's available actually on the CEDAW website. You can click on it and see English and French. So we also printed it out, and we handed it in here at the Wilson the Wilson building, which is where they are situated. So basically, this is something that we can assist on. The way it worked is that we, like every time, we sent out our timetable and calendar of events coming up, and we talked to a DRC section. Oh yes, we would like to do something. What can we do? And then they did this shadow report pretty quickly, because it's a shadow report that is focused on the topics that we use, so that she didn't need to Annie didn't need to go and study everything, but just the topics that we focus on. And they did from DRC. They did the report in constant communication with us. You could write, what do you think about this topic? And we could try to help each other and coordinate on what is best to include and what topics to focus on. And then when she had the final version, she sent it, and we did this cover letter, and we have shared it here with all our contacts. So this is really a nice way, I think, of bringing your message here to the human rights bodies. When it is possible, doing a shadow report is a great way. But more importantly, being part of the national shadow report that it's probably being coordinated by some other NGOs, it's also a great way. So just joining the elaboration of several NGOs. Like I know it's right now being done in Colombia. They are joining the report that is being done by everyone, and we're just being part of it, which is great, and bringing our expertise there. Um, the other ways, um, it's doing side events or panels. This is something that we are going to experience in from my experience on for the first time. Um, Now that the DRC, Annie is coming from DRC to present her report, and also women from DRC are coming to present the report. We are going to do a side event, a panel about DRC here, and we would like to invite, of course, member states to listen to them, and listen to their experience, and have also really proposals about recommendations that they can have on how we think um, the international society should be responding to the situation in DRC. So this, I think we will see after this first experience how it is. We will do an evaluation and see if it is a good tool or not so good tool. And then you can be drafting a statement for the session. So that means that in the briefings that I was saying take place during the report, you can take the floor and you have to do your statement. You have to read, so you have to have a statement in advance. And the advantage is that because we are here, if you don't have enough means to come here, if we don't have enough funding, for example, then you can just send it, and then we can read it here, and we can acknowledge that it has come from the section, so it's so that they know it's actually coming from the grassroots organization. So I think it is, and then you can see the example of what we did with Pakistan, and you can see how that uses the integrated approach. Recommendations. This is another example. This is the one that we did concerning Pakistan. During the last review of Pakistan by CEDAW, we decided with the section to do um, this statement in which we were using a report by Ayansa that links the flow of small arms in Pakistan. It links it with the prevalence of domestic violence. So we thought that was very important. It's really bringing our integrated approach. It's bringing the topic of disarmament and the control of small arms to bring it to CEDAW, and because CEDAW had just done their declaration regarding arms trade treaty and the inclusion of gender, we thought this is a great moment to try to strengthen their declaration, and try. We were also within the whole campaign to get gender in the ATT. So then it was very welcomed by CEDAW members, and they decided to, in their concluding recommendations and the concluding observations, sorry, and they decided to include this, and they recommended that the state of Pakistan controls the flow of small arms. So I think it is very important that a committee that works on discrimination against women is talking about small arms flow, and we are then bringing the whole topic that this is about human rights. You can also see here another statement that was done in the Committee of the Rights of the Child, and it was regarding the impact of explosive violence. So it was also talking. We are part of a campaign also against explosive violence, and it was this was basically coming from reaching critical will, and it's a way also in bringing the topic of disarmament to the work being done by the human rights bodies, and in this case the Committee of the Rights of the Child, that we are not so much used to work with. So it's very important. And we, of course, we also brought in the gender aspect. So we were really trying to have a mainstreaming of human rights into all treaty bodies. And I think that's useful and important. Um, so yes, I think those are the main ways in which we can uh, um, we can influence. But like I was saying, also the follow up and from your side, the accountability, the advocacy, and the monitoring of the implementation of the concluding observations. The linking with other human rights bodies, and then when there's another human rights body, remembering that that one also commented on this, and maybe trying to link their work and to remind one, for example, the Committee on the Rights of the Child, of what CEDAW said in the previous session, and try to work it together. And all of that, of course, you can always let us know, and we can do a blog. But we, by default, we always try to do a blog when there's something important that just came up in a treaty body for our for one country where we have a section. And um, let me see my notes to see if I have um, if I have mentioned everything. Yeah, like I was saying, another thing that we can use is the individual communications, but that is does not happen very often. I have showed the example. Yeah, I wanted to show an example of um, the blogs. It's probably uh, oh yeah, it's here. So that's an example of how the blog. This actually concerns a charter-based body, but it doesn't change anything. This is what we usually do. We do a blog, and that's me taking part in the session and monitoring the session, and then we say what to do now, and then we try to encourage everyone, not just the section, but everyone to see what they can do afterwards with the conclusions of that meeting. The last thing that I would like to say, I only have 4 minutes left, and then I would like to see if someone has questions. The last thing that I would like to say is that we, of course, need a strategy in terms of trying to get everyone together. Right now, it is working in the way in which we send that calendar. I'll try to, yes, we send this calendar that you can see here um, twice a year. We update it and we send it out to you so that you are aware of what is coming up. And we are very, very aware that most sections who don't have a lot of capacity, and that you work on a volunteer basis, most of you. So of course we realize that sometimes it is not possible for everyone to do everything. That's why we just send it out and we wait to see who can respond and take part in one of these sessions. Like I was saying, you can take part remotely, because that's the importance of having an office here in Geneva, is that you can send us the information, you can send us reports, or you can send us a statement, and then we can read it for you at the session. So of course, all of that is trying to minimize the cost, but also to maximize the consequences, because really we can be sharing it with our network here. We can be you know be talking to all diplomats and representatives from states or members of the committees, and trying to get our message through. So it's very important to get the input from you, because otherwise there's nothing that we can say. Um, we would like to do soon some kind of grants for this specific human rights program. So those, if we get funding next year for those grants, the way I would have to do a strategy, and of course it would have to go through all the approvals processes. But the way I think it could work, it would be some kind of when we send out the calendar, you could submit, for example, a statement or a shadow report or whatever it is that you would like to do with that body, and then probably there wouldn't be so many, but if there's many, then we can try to see if the best ones, if it would be merit based, or if we would just have to divide the availability of funds. We could see about that, and then probably try to cover for the trip of the person to come here and be here, because of course it does have a greater impact when it is actually the person coming from the grassroots organization coming here and talking before the committee or before the Human Rights Council during the pre-sessions, if that is the case. But that I will touch upon in the next session when it comes to UPR. So hopefully it's something that we can do. Otherwise, like I'm saying, just keep in mind that you can always participate, just by sending remotely from there. You can always participate, and there's a lot of ways that we can try to have the maximum impact possible with the lowest funds that is unfortunately what we have. I would like now to open the floor to you, to see if you would have any questions. Hold on. Questions. Oh, sorry. I can see. Can we take a little break? I don't know. Okay, so I can see. I am really sorry. It doesn't seem like I understood how this properly worked, and I can now see that there are questions. I can see Martha says who is speaking. So hello, Martha. This is Maria from the Human Rights Program in Geneva. I think we met during the international board. And Dana says, can we take a little break? Well, I finished from my side now, so hopefully you can take a break if you like, and because now it's question time, and anyway there will be this will be recorded, and you can go back and have a look at it on YouTube very soon. So open to you. I can see Adelia has her hand up. I will try to give you the floor. Unmute. I think you can talk now.
Okay, thank you. Very good presentation, Maria. Thanks.
Thank you.
One question is, I'm just curious, because NGOs worked a lot, at least in the Latin American area, to have this protocol for CEDAW.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the purpose was to have individuals cases
Mm-hmm.
from, and what do you think it's so little use?
Mm-hmm.
That is not being used very much, these particular cases of, an individual to, raising a case before CEDAW.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think it's basically one of the main reasons is just that it has so many requirements that you have to finish all domestic procedures, judicial procedures. So it's sometimes difficult to get there, and then of course, that if you go to, for example, the Inter-American Human Rights Committee, I think I believe it has a lot more legal strength on that side that if you do it at CEDAW. Of course,
International.
it's not, at the end of the day, they are not a court, and they will not be able to impose themselves as much. Also, it takes a lot of means. You have to have someone doing the actual case and everything. But when it comes to cases in which it will be valuable, I would really encourage that we try to do that. If we have cases in which it's possible, I think it's a great example that then afterwards can be followed.
Yeah, but it's the same criteria. You cannot use a regional procedure and an international procedure. It's either one, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
one or the other. You can't. That's part of the many
Mhm.
requirements that are involved. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I can see. Okay, I muted you back, and now I can see Barbara. You have the floor.
No, I don't think you can hear me.
Yes, yes. We can hear Barbara.
Oh, okay. Sorry, no, I actually can't see anybody, or I don't think my screen is working properly because
Oh, sorry.
I could hear you, but yeah, I can't do anything. So I actually wasn't I actually wasn't going to ask a question at this stage.
Oh, you don't have any question?
No, I'm not sure what happened there. I can't see anybody. Can you see me? Can
Oh,
you?
sorry. No, we can't. We can't see the other, and I don't think you can see me, but I
Mm,
can.
mm, mm.
I can turn it
No,
on.
I
Can you
didn't.
see me now?
Oh,
Ooh.
I can see you now. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. I actually had a lot of trouble logging into the or getting into this in the first place, so I missed the first half of what you were saying. I'm afraid, so I was a
Okay.
bit lost.
But
But no, I thought it was. I thought the whole thing. Yeah, I guess my because I missed quite a lot of what you're saying. I guess what I was most interested in is just how NGOs are involved in the shadow reporting for CEDAW. Did you talk about that? Did I miss that?
yes, I talked about that, and that is this
Mm.
session is actually recorded. So then we will post
Mm-hmm.
it on our website, and you will be able to see it again later.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the whole thing. And I have
Oh,
explained
okay.
how the process works and how NGOs are involved. Right
Mm.
now, for example, with CEDAW, there's a lot of involvement in the reporting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Here, in Geneva, you can take
Mm.
the floor, you have a
Mm.
briefing time with the NGOs. Then, of course, there's always the topic of the national official report, in which it is very difficult to have governments involve NGOs, even though they should be
Mm.
doing it. That's a different,
Mm.
unfortunately, very difficult topic, is to actually have the state invite the NGOs
Mm.
in their reporting. And then of course you can
Mm.
do a shadow reporting.
Mm. But if you do a shadow report, I mean, there's no guarantee that it will get anywhere, is there? You can just it doesn't go formally to anybody.
Yeah, well, then if you do a shadow report, it gets here to CEDAW or to whatever treaty body you would like to address. If you are
Mm.
a member of WILF, we can really ensure that this is the case, because then we will be taking it here at the Geneva office, and we will bring it to whoever needs to receive it. And
Mm-hmm.
it does, because like I was explaining this at the beginning of the session, and I am sure you can have a look at the video another day and listen to it. um, because they are so receptive, because these are actually gender experts, usually these reports do go somewhere, and they take them into account, they take
Mm.
them very seriously, and they use the
Mm.
information there. The
Mm.
problem, however, is that of course, then it's about, will the state actually take the recommendations from CEDAW? But they do. CEDAW
Mm.
most of the time does take up the recommendations. I'm gonna give the floor to Adilia, because she's has her hand up again, and maybe she wants to respond to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Adilia.
No, no. Uh,
Adilia.
no, no. I don't know what happened. Maybe I touched that without meaning, but
Okay,
I'm
or
fine.
maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't put it back down. Sorry, Adilia.
It's okay.
Mm.
Um, I have to see. No, well, I don't know how I am supposed to, but I think it's that. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. I'm just gonna, okay, I can see Jeanette here. Jeanette, you have the floor.
Hi, it's Jeanette here from
Hello.
Australia.
Hello.
I just wanted to say that I thought it was really a good seminar. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
It was really informative, and the material that you've put together, I think, will be really useful. You know, I'm quite sort of new to knowing about this, but you know, about what we can do in our own sections, and yeah, all of that. I think the material that you've put together to support it is really good, and the fact that you're taping it. So it's not really a question; it's just more of a comment and a thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. That's great to hear. Well, I am. I just want to say that, you know, any comments that you have, things that you would like to see differently in the materials, or any comments that you have, please let me know in my email or at rights@wilf.ch. You have all of that in the emails that we've been sending. Please give us your comments. You will also have a survey after this, and please feel free to make any input as you'd like, because I would like to do this every year, and you know, at summertime it's a little bit more quiet, and then I can devote some time to this, and then do some refreshing with the sections, and of course we can try to focus it every year on different things. So please feel free to give your input, and I am very glad that you found this this useful. I think this is very anything for me. Thank you, Martha. I am muted by you. Yes, everyone is muted, Martha, and you should have a little hand on the left of the control panel. So if you would like to raise your hand, you can always uh, raise your hand. And I can see Adelia wants to talk. Yes, Adelia?
Yeah, one suggestion, if it's possible, maybe it is already, but I don't know of. Is there any like a summary of the recommendations? Because recommendations are very useful, but sometimes it's very difficult to find what you want because it's long and
yeah, by CEDAW.
But well, you know, by topics or things, you know, that we can, you know, one can research and can, you know, see the summary of what's the core. Because like in our area, those things are taken very seriously when, you know, arguing a case so that it can be used locally.
Mm-hmm. So you are saying a summary of the general recommendations, or the recommendations of each country, or
No,
all of them?
the general recommendations of CEDAW.
Okay, I will have a look. I am sure there's some material on that, and I will have a look, and I will try to share it with everyone.
Thank you. That
You're
was it.
very welcome. And okay, I think if nobody else would like to take the floor, I think we have finished. I would like to thank you all so much for being here today. I hope that you will be. Oh, I can see Martha. Sorry. Yes, Martha.
I just wanted to add that I think this is particularly useful for making the sections more cohesively working together, and that if, besides letting us know on a regular basis which sections are coming up for their turn, if, you know, outcomes, and keeping us informed of, you know, in advance, so that maybe those sections which are weaker might need some assistance can get it, so that they can do what's necessary, and have more experienced CEDAW hands helping them out, so that we really make this a cohesive campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, of course, we don't have a lot of staff and means, but what I've
No,
been
but
trying.
we have other members. We have members, and we have board members, and we have executive, and you know there are things that can be done collegially.
Yeah,
It doesn't all have to be done by the staff.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think we
Staff are
do.
wonderful, but
No, I think we do have a lot of sources also within the members and all around WILPF. So what I do usually is when I see that something like very important is coming up, if I have the time, I try to also send an email to the section and say, please do let me know if you would like to do something because we can help you. And this is also why I wanted to do this webinar to show you what we've also already done with, for example, with DRC, and that you realize it's not that complicated, and we are able to help you as much as we can. So it's not going to be all the weight on the section that I know sometimes. And of course, using other members of XCOM for the advice and for the technical assistance, I think that should be something that we can work on because it's going to be a great strength. So thank you very much for that comment. And okay, I think now it's really it's really finished. Thank you very much for joining. Hopefully, we will have a lot of interaction during the next year. Hopefully, there will be a lot of activities coming from the sections and feeding into the human rights bodies because I can really tell you it is very appreciated. I can see that the members of the committees and the states of the Human Rights Council have really appreciated our input, and we are really I think our input is really important at this body. So hopefully we can keep up the good work. Thank you very much, and hoping to see you soon and working with you again soon. Bye.